Hi again, YouTube. I changed the description of my channel from blood to bloodline one time, and it wouldn't take, or it was bloodline, and I tried to change it to blood and then back to bloodline again to see if I could get more people to listen to what I was trying to say about where the bloodline of the fallen ones did go. That was my I didn't really know personally very many of the what we'll call 144,000 at that time. So I was more on a fishing expedition for the not so savory type person to come up against me. So found plenty of them, by the way. But I changed the description to adult conversation about Holy Grail bloodline of Christ slash current events, and then underneath never for children. That should cover it. I got some hardware humor for you. I'm not sure how funny it is. Oh, first I'll tell you, don't eat any romaine lettuce from Salinas Valley, California. A guy in Minnesota almost died from kidney failure with a E. coli. So there's, and I'm not sure where uh, any other places if it's reported that that has happened, but that's at least here. So I would watch out for Salinas Valley, California romaine lettuce. So, okay, here's start an emergency fund, and you'll be surprised how fast an emergency develops. And then a conversation is like a good meal. You should leave it just before you've had enough. What's the difference between a recession and a depression? A recession is when the economy starts to crumble. A depression is when everyone feels it. Of course, Santa's jolly. You'd be jolly too if you just had an 11-month vacation. Yeah, for real. Um, Teenagers' appetite. Oh, teenager. Appetite wearing $150 sneakers. Yeah, not my kids, not when they were teens. I couldn't afford that. Well, one time I bought like a starter jacket, 130 bucks was on sale, that type of thing. But, it was hard to do. No help at all, so yeah, it was hard. I shouldn't say no. There's a time where like Doug got Luke a new pair of tennis shoes, and not top of the line, cheapest ones they were, but that's was better than no help at all. So yeah, I guess I got some once in a while, but it's not like we didn't do anything in return because my kids worked their butts off, especially my oldest son. I'm not putting down my youngest because then he had to be raised around everybody else that was um, whatever their function was at that point in their lives. And me being younger. Grandmas are usually a little more even tempered than adult parents. So sometimes, depends. So, excuse me. Cheers. People go, that's usually like a UK or Britain thing. I don't know. Um, I've heard a lot all over the place. So, yeah. My kitty's been sick. She's in her 21st year now, and she's got a sore nipple that she was licking. And I think she kept licking that because she couldn't reach her back very well. And I cleaned her up, helped her with her back, and I've been putting antibiotic antifungal stuff for animals on her, and it's been getting better, but it's been kind of a struggle. And then I've had some kind of almost sleepless nights, and Doug's been up till like 3 and 3:30, and It's difficult. It is. Then I'm not able to get up and, get going with the day like I like to do. So, but I do. It's just more difficult. So I thought, well, I don't have a lot to talk about. I mean, certain things, yes. Oh, that reminds me too. On my last video, part 2 on the Holy Grail there, I put more of a in-depth I pinned a comment of mine about the bloodline, the fallen bloodline in Czechoslovakia, and some of the other things, tactics they do through the world to hide themselves. One thing, and this goes for whichever side of the fence you're on, the mother of any child carries some DNA, a smidgen of DNA from her male born child. Did you know that? So I had 2 sons. I have tiny little parts of their dad still in me because of that. And myself, back. But that's a fact. So just think about like Mary, for instance, and the mother's carrying on the bloodline from a male child that whole time. Well, that works on the bad side of the fence too. So they were able to hide, thinking, well, people in general, and I used to think this, um, how could the mothers carry that bloodline and the name of, say, like the fallen that would change their names all over the place and marry cousins and whatnot? And because they knew the formula, and so did Satan. But the thing is, I didn't used to realize. I mean, I know I read this, and I mean, it was in there, but it wasn't until a scientific study came out and showed and proved that there was DNA from that male child in the mothers that they had studied and whatnot. So, just the thought of that Mary's blood came through all of us, like say our fathers or whatever, it still comes back, full circle, that type of thing. Well, that's how Christ rises again in everybody, just like that. Because when it gets back to that like 100% point, there he is again. See? Through the mothers. And the same with Satan. So, there's another thing with that. Satan rises first. That's because he was born first. He's older. And if I'm not mistaken, this is my take on it. Why he was able to make the world such a mess right now is because he was here already, and they say he's in control and that the Antichrist will rise first. Well, he already has. He's here. It's very obvious to all of us that this world is just whacked, right? Do you agree? He rose. See what I'm saying? So we're just waiting for the Christ blood to say, hey, enough of your crap. Big brother, little brother, don't care. But that's why they call him Big Brother. Slap, slap. Time for you to back on down, boy. Because Big Sister's on the scene, you know. Or even if I'm younger, I don't give a shit. So anyway, just some of my thoughts today. I am going to make lefse, potato lefse for Thanksgiving, and then buy my turkey after because it's cheaper. So yeah, and Douglas got lots of butter. Yeah, there's like 4 pounds of it in there. I don't use a lot of butter, but Doug's a butteraholic. He says because he didn't have any when he was a kid, but it's really just because he likes it a lot. But yeah, I when I was a kid, my parents would, if they had margarine or butter, they would put, like, okay, say for instance, I think some of you've heard this story. I like peanut butter now, and I'm allergic, but I still eat it. I take an allergy pill if I have one of my things I'm not supposed to have. So, or more than one. I suffer, but in different ways. But anyway, um, my adopted dad used to say, Dad used to take peanut butter and then he'd put butter on it too. Like, I'm not kidding, like that thick. And it was so gross. I would eat, like, I was probably the only kid you knew that would eat the crust and give the rest of my sandwich back to my dad because I couldn't deal with it. It was like, oh, really bad. So, yeah, that was pretty gross. And um, then in junior high school, the cooks would do that too with the peanut butter sandwiches. The only thing is, it was government peanut butter, which was like, it didn't have hydrogenized oils in it and sugar and that type of stuff. It was just peanut butter, and you'd have to like mix it. So they had that, and they would put margarine back in the day or real butter on it. Well, the next day, those sandwiches, like you go to pay for your lunch, those sandwiches from the other day, you could get something extra to eat. And I ran like track and was like busy on the trampoline and played my flute in the orchestra and all kinds of things in my life. I was active. I was taking all my Red Cross courses by that time, all that type of thing, and different interests in my life. So I was busy and active constantly. And I literally did many times walk home 3 miles. I very rarely walked to school, but I did once in a while. But I would either take the school bus or the city. I like taking the city bus because then they would stop by the Walker Art Center and the School for the Blind and the Deaf, and those people would get on, and I learned another conversation. So yeah, it was interesting, really. But anyway, the next day, that peanut butter would like crystallize with the butter on there, and it turned it into a whole nother sandwich, and it was good and good energy too. So, say if we were having like chow mein and corn and some kind of funky ginger bread or something, and they put a dollop of little dab of whipped cream on there or something, like, and a piece of bread, then I could have extra peanut butter, half a peanut butter sandwich or something, which was really cool. So for the energy. So anyway, um yeah, so much for butter. I like it, just not a ton of it, like if there's a big gob of it. If it's on toast and I'm eating it with something else, I can tolerate it. But if I were just to take like a bite with a big gob of butter on anything like that, I just can't deal with it. So that's just me. So, and I agree with like Lionel. Well, his name's Mike, but hi Mike. If you ever watch me, I think he does once in a while because um, or for sure he sees my titles if they put them out there. I don't know. They'll probably try to get rid of me, and in that case, if they do, I'll go to. I got a DTube account. I haven't uploaded anything, but I'll go to like Vimeo, or I'll start doing more live stuff on Facebook. I'm not going to go away, no matter what they do. And if they do make me go away, when I remember more things that God's telling me, they're not going to be able to hear it. So if they want to get rid of people like me speaking the truth, then they're not going to know what's going on in our minds, and we'll be able to communicate because we know where everybody's at, and each of us have our own individual people we can get a hold of if we need to. So the only thing they're doing is like cutting off their noses to spite their face, you know, and that goes for treating people cruelly and lying to them and all the crafts that they're doing. The only thing they're doing is ultimately hurting themselves. And I've even tried to stop some of them and saying, like, you're better than that. Just quit that. You'd have more friends if you'd stop trying to use people. Things would even work out more in your life if you could just do things like this, but they won't listen to me. It's even though I live in a living hell every day, God pulls me through, and even to Satan's amazement, amazed that he cannot get to me, you know and really for over 30 decades he's been laying, well, I mean all my life, but when I've been battling and don't really have to fight it, he's like, oh, look at that guy. I'm like, take a hike, bozo, I'm so sick of your shit. you know it's an automatic response. It's like, and I'll ask him, why do you keep trying to do this? Are you that stupid? You're that thick that you think you're ever going to get to me? And he hasn't been able to. In fact, it's 40 about 45 years because I was faithful in a first marriage. So if it was like 15 years and then another 30, this long in my life, I've been like a faithful wife. And even before that, I had integrity. And you'd think by now that stupid F would say, hey, I've had enough of trying this woman because I'm getting nowhere. But he's stupid enough to keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. What, you think like the next clown that comes along is going to sway my love of Christ and dirty me when Christ is constantly holding my hand? So if I have to say no, and then he'll say, well, you thought, no, you thought, and you tried to put it on me, so you yourself, you know? That's the way I've been for decades, decades. And I don't tolerate anything less out of people. I don't want anybody around. Okay, I'll give you time to gather your strengths in that area once I show you my example. But when I give you that example and tell you to tell him to take a hike, immediately, don't take that nasty thought on for yourself, then you own it. The second you think beyond that, it's yours, you see? So if he compiles all in one day, it's still his. Don't own it. Don't give it another thought. It's like, no, not going there, not doing it. You can't pretend with me. Don't go there, you know? So I was going to say, don't go there. I won't, No, I don't. And I haven't for a very long time. Even in between relationships, I had no interest in luring somebody towards me. I wanted companionship, I wanted intelligence, and I wanted somebody that believes in God. Well, I did find out Satan believes in God. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? So there's a song like that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Meatloaf. Yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Huh. Careful what you wish for, right? No, actually, I went out to find the big dog hogs so I could say, hey, this is your last chance. Here I am like this. I'm showing you me. This is what Christ expects out of us. This is what I do. If you can't do that, okay, once in a while he gets my anger, but it's not misplaced and it's not evil. So he doesn't get anything out of me, not even my anger, because it's not vicious. If I'm going to say something sharp at somebody, they deserve it. And it's bone cutting, and they won't do that crap around me again. So that's done with love. And it really is. I plan my words. I'll take a whole day sometimes and plan something, or longer, just specifically for somebody to put them in the place God wants them to be in. Am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect, but I know I'm walking pretty perfectly. If I didn't have that stupid ass in my head trying to spew crap at me, I would be perfect. It's just that split second of doubt because I'm in this human vessel. Otherwise, I would be perfect. So, and I've been walking a long time with God. So, and I'm not a liar, and I've taught my children right. So I've got a pretty good track record. So if people want to get rid of me off this internet, this platform, um, I still want to write a YouTube song, but I might be writing a YouTube song on another platform, and that will truly determine what my song's about. The last song I wrote, not the last one of the songs I wrote was blues, and I went up into our local drinking establishment and slayed everybody in the town, and even the people I was singing about clapped for me. So when God gives you words, he makes it powerful. You can tell. So I haven't even had a chance to listen to. Well, I would have could have took the chance to listen to the new Coldplay album, the whole thing, and watch their show live in Jordan. I caught a little bit of it, just clips, and I'll go back and do that when I really can get into it. It's just that um, things have been so stressful, I haven't been able to enjoy it like that. So I take time, watch a couple movies here and there or something, and other people's videos, and that's about it. Because I want to be able to listen to it intently because they have a lot of things that, not that I need to know, it's just um, they have a way of sharing feelings that touches my heart. I think they're the greatest band ever. I really do. So, let's see what else is going on. Oh, not a whole lot more going on, I think. I'll take a sip of my coffee and think here. Well, we'll see what Agenda 2020 has in store for us. And there's things that were described in the Agenda 2030 that they've already put into play. So we'll see, which would be like the collapse of the economy and stuff, which has already collapsed. I mean, when you rewrite money and you have debt, trillions of dollars of debt, that's collapsed. It's gone. It's been gone for a very long time. You know, they're just playing paper games and electronic games. And now Bitcoin, which I call Bitcon, just more of the same, only electronic. And I mean, it's the same difference as putting money in the bank and thinking that you're going to be rich doing that. I mean, they could just pull the plug. Um, and money doesn't mean anything anyway. The thing is, okay, here's a for instance. Uh, Being able to around here like trade hay for wood or different crops that people have and different things and truly the barter system in play is how we've gotten like a lot of our vehicles and even like Doug could do like metal fab or body work or something on somebody's car and they might do painting or of cars or different things that would give us a more valuable vehicle or at least one that looks better if we were going to keep it, something like that. So I mean, there's different things in our life that we both do that are valuable that we can trade, which is really cool. So, yeah. Well, I'll leave that on that note, and I'm going to tell you something here. I heard somebody say that they were a stutterer. I used to have a speech impediment for CHs, like church and cherry chair, that type of thing. And sometimes my mouth will fall, well, whichever side. Um, but and that makes it a little more difficult. But the hesitation in my speech, I learned from this therapist. So, see, my dad was a stutterer, and I found out that their brain is going so fast, or they're upset and they can't spit out what they're trying to say, so they'll go like trying to say. So if they just slow down, calm down, and I've taught many stutterers now how to calm down your thoughts and your speech and not be in such a hurry. So, and in business school, we learn also to give that thought or that word a pause. There's two reasons. That gives you time to elaborate on what you're talking about, or to give somebody else in for conversation if it's needed at that point. So I developed a mode of speech to actually help other people speak like that. And it's a hesitant speaking pattern like that, and that's why. And it does give you a moment instead of just blurting something out. It gives you that second of hesitation to um, really dig deeper into your thoughts and your words, and it makes for a good conversation with other people too, instead of just rattling things off like, here's my remote and today is really good, and there's a fan over there, and oh my god, it's my coffee, and blah 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 blah. People like, and I'll name it, Johnny Kleck, oh my god, for crap, whew, just blah 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 blah. What, it's like it's coming from somewhere on the other side of the universe for real. It's like from the depths and the bowels of where everything yucky resides, because that's just like ungodly sickening, you know. So anyway. Oh, yeah. It is. It really is. It's sickening. I'm not hating towards them or nothing like that, but these people like that are twisting things to make money and for their own benefit and whatever, um, are not going to benefit. So, and I feel it. It's coming closer. Oh, it's soon, soon. I believe this year we're all going to see a huge change, really, on the way this world is ran. It's a lot of people really sick of it. So, and there's one thing to remember, and I've done this a lot. If you don't like where you are, walk. I mean, like in your job, in your life, don't be afraid to take that step. Because if I was afraid to take steps, I'd be so dead. I'd still be getting beat on, or I'd be getting urinated on by bosses or whatever. If I wasn't afraid to go take like my contractor's test, or go back to college, or whatever it was, even a tiny bit here and there, or even dealer school. If I was afraid to go and try these new things in my life, I would be dead, you know. So don't ever be afraid to take another step or try something new. Even if you fail, you'll learn something. You might learn a weakness or a strength that'll help you in another area, but it'll be okay. Just have faith that it will. So, okay. Um, I'll probably be back tomorrow, I hope. And that was literally a stutter because I just got a chill. The heat came on. I heard the heat's my uh propane is gonna start up. I heard that click that it's gonna come on, and I shivered. That's silly, but that's kind of like hearing somebody sneeze, or yawn, seeing somebody yawn and yawning too. How about this? Anybody tired? I'm gonna let you go. I love you. Thanks for joining me.